Every single year, TV companies walk onto a stage, throw around words like AI, revolutionary, next generation, and somehow expect everybody to clap while paying double the price for what is basically last year's TV wearing a new jacket. And in 2026, it honestly feels worse than ever. We now have TVs advertising AI vision engines, RGB Mini LED quantum layers, anti-glare infinity processing, and other names that sound less like televisions and more like rejected superhero powers. Now normally, this is the part where tech channels start blasting cinematic B-roll, slow-motion footage, sponsored demos, and perfectly lit showroom videos that make every TV look like the greatest invention in human history. But we're not doing that here. We're using raw images, close-ups, retail shots, CES photos, side-by-side comparisons, pricing screenshots, and real product visuals instead, because once you remove the dramatic marketing footage, you start noticing something very interesting. Some of these TVs suddenly stop looking next generation and start looking suspiciously similar to the models they replaced. And that's exactly why you need to watch this entire video carefully, because hidden somewhere in these 52 TVs are some genuinely incredible upgrades, but also some of the most aggressively overhyped, overpriced, and unnecessary smart TVs we've seen in years. Some brands are quietly making future-proof monsters that could dominate the resale market for years, while others are charging luxury prices for upgrades most people will never even notice in real life. So today on Flip Tech for Cash, we're breaking down all 52 confirmed 2026 smart TVs. The genuinely impressive ones, the fake upgrade ones, the secretly overpriced ones, the hidden value monsters, and the TVs that honestly make it feel like the entire industry thinks consumers stopped paying attention. And one of the easiest TVs to immediately recognize in this entire 2026 lineup is the Samsung S85H, because Samsung is pushing this thing everywhere as the entry point into its 2026 OLED ecosystem. You'll usually spot it by its ultra-thin black frame, centered metal stand, extremely vibrant showroom colors, and gaming-focused demo footage running at very high refresh rates in retail stores. Samsung clearly wants this TV to look premium the second you walk into an electronics store. Samsung gave this TV a newer OLED panel with improved brightness over older budget OLEDs, HDMI 2.1 support, VRR, low input lag, and smoother motion handling that makes gaming and sports feel much cleaner than many older mid-range TVs. This is the kind of TV that immediately attracts gamers because fast-moving scenes look sharp and responsive without much blur. For casual buyers upgrading from older 4K TVs, the picture quality honestly feels like a huge jump. Samsung gave this TV a newer OLED panel with improved brightness over older budget OLEDs, HDMI 2.1 support, VRR, low input lag, and smoother motion handling that makes gaming and sports feel much cleaner than many older mid-range TVs. This is the kind of TV that immediately attracts gamers because fast-moving scenes look sharp and responsive without much blur. For casual buyers upgrading from older 4K TVs, the picture quality honestly feels like a huge jump. But honestly, this is also one of those TVs where Samsung clearly wants buyers to feel like they're getting flagship technology when there are still noticeable compromises once you look closer. The HDR brightness still falls behind the more expensive S95H, darkroom movie performance can feel weaker beside stronger OLED competitors, and the built-in speakers sound surprisingly average for a 2026 TV. So overall, this TV is a cautious yay for gamers and casual premium buyers, but definitely not the mind-blowing revolution Samsung's marketing tries to sell it as. And this is where Samsung starts getting a little dangerous in 2026, because right after showing people OLEDs like the S85H, they immediately turn around and push the Samsung QN70H like it's somehow almost the same experience. The QN70H is extremely easy to spot because Samsung usually demos it with insanely bright sports footage, nature scenes, and colorful HDR clips designed to make the screen practically glow across the entire store. And honestly, in a bright showroom, this TV tricks a shocking number of people into thinking they're looking at an OLED. Samsung packed this TV with stronger mini LED brightness, better anti-glare technology, improved AI upscaling, and smooth gaming support that actually makes daytime viewing look incredible. This is the kind of TV that dominates bright living rooms where sunlight normally destroys darker OLED screens, and for sports fans, it honestly looks fantastic most of the time. But this is also where Samsung's marketing starts feeling suspicious, because once the room gets darker, the blooming around subtitles and bright objects becomes much harder to ignore. And this is why the QN70H ends up being one of the most controversial but also nay TVs of 2026, because the experience completely changes depending on how and where you use it. In bright rooms, this thing looks powerful, colorful, and premium enough to embarrass some cheaper OLEDs, but in darker movie scenes the illusion starts breaking apart fast. So if you mainly watch sports, YouTube, or gaming during the day, this TV is honestly a strong yay. But if you're chasing cinematic OLED-style movie nights, Samsung is absolutely overselling what this TV can really do. And this is exactly where things start getting messy in Samsung's 2026 lineup, because right above the QN70H sits the Samsung QN80H, a TV Samsung desperately wants you to believe is a massive leap forward. At first glance, it honestly works, because the QN80H looks brighter, cleaner, and more premium the moment you see it in a showroom beside the QN70H. You can usually spot it instantly from the ultra-bright HDR demo footage, deeper contrast, thinner bezels, and aggressive anti-glare reflections that make the screen almost look fake under store lighting. Now to be fair, Samsung actually improved several important things here, especially local dimming, brightness control, gaming smoothness, and daytime visibility in bright rooms. Sports look incredibly sharp, HDR gaming feels punchy, and the stronger mini LED zones help dark scenes look noticeably cleaner than the QN70H in many situations. But this is also where Samsung's pricing starts becoming questionable, because the company acts like this TV is approaching OLED territory when darker movie scenes still reveal blooming and weaker black levels compared to true OLED competitors. And honestly, this is why the QN80H becomes one of the most dangerous, almost premium TVs of 2026, because it looks incredible just long enough to convince many people they don't need OLED anymore. In bright living rooms, this thing genuinely performs like a monster, especially for sports, gaming, and casual streaming content during the day. But if you're the kind of person who watches movies in dark rooms and expects true cinematic black levels, just because Samsung used the words Neo QLED, this TV quickly reminds you that marketing hype and real-world performance are still two very different things. And after TVs like the QN80H spend all their energy trying to look brighter, faster, and more next generation, Samsung suddenly switches personalities completely with the Samsung LS03H the frame. This TV is ridiculously easy to recognize because unlike most TVs screaming for attention in stores, the frame is designed to look almost invisible, blending into walls like expensive artwork with matte anti-glare coating, thin bezels, and fake art gallery displays. Samsung basically looked at normal televisions and said, what if rich living rooms didn't want TVs to look like TVs anymore? Now honestly, Samsung deserves credit because this thing genuinely fools people in the right lighting conditions, especially with the improved matte display that reduces reflections far better than older frame TVs. The custom art modes, slim wall mounting, and hidden cable setup make this one of the cleanest looking TVs in 2026 for people obsessed with aesthetics and interior design. But this is also where the controversy starts, because underneath all the luxury art gallery marketing, the actual picture performance is nowhere near what similarly priced OLED and Neo QLED TVs can deliver. And this is why the frame becomes one of the biggest yay for lifestyle, nay for value TVs in Samsung's entire 2026 lineup. If your dream is making your living room look clean, modern, and expensive while hiding the fact that there's a television on the wall, this thing honestly nails the assignment perfectly. But if you care mainly about cinematic movie quality, gaming performance, deep contrast, or raw HDR impact, Samsung is absolutely charging a luxury tax here for aesthetics more than actual flagship-level TV performance. And honestly, this is where LG walks into the room looking directly at lifestyle TVs like the frame and basically says, cool wall decoration. Now let's talk about actual picture quality. The LG G6 OLED Evo is one of the easiest premium TVs to recognize in 2026 because the screen looks almost unreal in person, especially with its ultra-thin gallery-style design, insanely deep OLED blacks, and HDR highlights that practically jump off the panel. LG clearly built this TV to remind people that while some brands are busy making televisions blend into walls, OLED still exists to completely dominate movie nights. Now, to be fair, the G6 is genuinely one of the most impressive-looking TVs of 2026 because LG pushed brightness harder this year while still keeping the perfect black levels OLED fans obsess over. Dolby Vision movies look stunning, gaming performance is ridiculously smooth with HDMI 2.1 and high refresh support, and dark scenes finally have enough brightness to compete better in brighter rooms. But this is also where LG starts playing the same dangerous premium pricing game as everyone else, because the company acts like slightly better brightness suddenly justifies prices that could make some people rethink their entire entertainment budget. And this is why the LG G6 becomes one of the biggest but calm down TVs of 2026, because the performance is genuinely elite while the marketing tries to convince people it's a life-changing spiritual experience. If you love movies, darkroom viewing, or high-end gaming, this thing absolutely delivers one of the best TV experiences available right now. But if you already own a strong recent OLED, the difference may feel more like refined and brighter than the revolutionary leap LG's marketing department keeps screaming about. And this is where things start getting genuinely strange in 2026, because right after LG perfects OLED even further with the G6, the company suddenly turns around and starts pushing the LG 95B Micro RGB Evo like it's the future beyond OLED itself. This TV is extremely easy to recognize because LG usually demos it with absurdly bright HDR footage, hypersaturated colors, futuristic showroom lighting, and giant Micro RGB, branding everywhere like they're unveiling alien technology instead of a television. And honestly, the first time people see this thing in person, the brightness and color intensity are shocking enough to make normal TVs nearby look half asleep. Now, to be fair, LG is doing some genuinely impressive things here because the 95B pushes brightness, HDR punch, and color volume far beyond what many traditional OLEDs can comfortably sustain. Gaming looks ridiculously vivid, bright room performance is much stronger, and the screen has enough intensity to immediately grab attention from anywhere in a room. But this is also where the entire 2026 TV industry starts feeling slightly unhinged, because companies are now chasing brightness levels so aggressively that some TVs are beginning to look more like giant glowing billboards than natural cinematic displays. And this is why the LG 95B Micro RGB Evo becomes one of the biggest future tech but practical TVs of 2026, because the technology feels both exciting and slightly excessive at the same time. If you want one of the brightest, flashiest, most attention-grabbing TVs available today, this thing absolutely delivers a futuristic experience that feels years ahead of older displays. But if you mainly stream normal movies, YouTube videos, and casual TV content, there's a very real chance you're paying luxury-level money for performance most real-world content still can't fully take advantage of yet. And honestly, after seeing companies throw around words like Micro RGB, AI vision, and next-generation cinematic processing for the entire video, ending with the Xiaomi Mi TV 2026 almost feels poetic. Because while premium brands are busy convincing people they need futuristic luxury televisions that cost the same as motorcycles, Xiaomi quietly walks into 2026 asking one dangerous question. What if most people just want a good TV that doesn't destroy their wallet? And that question alone is exactly why so many bigger TV brands secretly hate what Xiaomi keeps doing to the market. Now, to be fair, Xiaomi is still cutting corners in some areas because these TVs usually prioritize aggressive pricing over true flagship-level perfection. But the scary part for competitors is that Xiaomi keeps getting good enough in brightness, gaming support, smart features, HDR performance, and modern design that many casual buyers honestly stop caring about ultra-premium TVs altogether. And once a regular person sees a Xiaomi TV beside a much more expensive competitor during normal everyday content, the question suddenly becomes very uncomfortable for the entire TV industry. And this is why the Xiaomi Mi TV 2026 ends up becoming the perfect final TV for this entire conversation, because it exposes the biggest secret in the modern smart TV market. Sometimes good value is more dangerous to the industry than perfect technology. Is this TV better than the absolute flagship OLED monsters we discussed earlier? No, but for millions of normal buyers, Xiaomi is dangerously close to making those ultra-expensive TVs feel less necessary than the companies selling them would ever want to admit. And honestly, that might be the most controversial thing about the entire 2026 TV market. And honestly, after looking at all these 2026 TVs, it's becoming very clear that the TV industry is no longer just selling picture quality. It's selling hype, AI buzzwords, luxury branding, and the fear of feeling outdated every single year. Some of these TVs are genuinely impressive, but others honestly feel like companies recycled last year's hardware, added brighter demo footage and fancy marketing terms, then doubled the price and hoped nobody would notice. So if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for Flip Tech for Cash for more TV flipping guides, tech resale opportunities, and hidden electronics insights. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, especially if you're in Kenya, you can support through M-Pesa using the account name Alexander Wangari and the number +254 0110 969 055, or through Sendwave, Remitly, Western Union, and similar international transfer platforms if you're outside Kenya.